really use is light to help guide a player. Now, here it's interesting, and this is Witcher 3. So as you play The Witcher, objects are important to interact with, or they're important for the game. You can often, there's this button you can press called the Witcher Senses, right? And all the stuff that you need to interact with or you can't interact with glows. So they're not really using lighting to take you to important objects that you have to find, because sometimes games can do that. Instead, they're using lighting to build ambience and to help guide you around the space. So these Witcher Senses, really are a kind of a neat technique, because it separates the need for light to have to guide players to practical things like, where's a gun or something like that, or, well, in Witcher it would be a sword. So it allows the light to just be used for these other purposes. So something to keep in mind. So here they're helping us to look around this dark space, and they've used these kind of point lights basically to illuminate areas, and you're going to automatically want to walk over to those areas. If we look at this shot, Witcher again, now this is the tutorial part, and so you're kind of walking around here. But interesting, we've got two kinds of light to think about. We have a window here, which is just part of the setting the scene. We expect to have a window there, so it's good to have a window there. But we also have this door, and then we have this fire. Now notice that the color of the light is very different. The fire is warm, and we would expect the fire to be warm, but in this environment, it gives this kind of cozy, relaxing, nice feeling. The light coming in from the door is much cooler, right? Now, first of all, you look at these two lights, the light of the fire and the light of the door, and you really sort of automatically want to go towards that. Also notice, remember the impact, warmer things seem closer, and cooler colors seem farther away. So we've also got this idea of distance, of things that are out there that we want to go look at. So if you do indeed go out that door, this is what you see. So we have Geralt out on this balcony. He can't go anywhere. Okay, so this is just a scene to allow the player to experience what the world looks like. You are protected. There's this very strong railing around you. So if we look at this as just look at just the elements, we have a horizontal line that is blocking you, giving you this sense of stability. But out there is the wildness. We have this undulating, wild, hilly landscape. In this middle ground, we have a point of interest, which is a ruin, right, conveying all kinds of meanings. They've got like some clouds, right, and some atmospheric effects. And again, notice that we have this kind of atmospheric perspective working. It's much warmer colors here in the tile, and then it gets purple, blue, and of course a lot of this is coming from the game engine. They're not hand coloring it in or anything, but just to show you, and then you're going to move through these greens and everything, right? So you've got all those effects that are helping to build this idea of the environment. Okay, here's more from Ethan Carter. This is still, again, in the first part of the game, and this is back to this idea of framing, right? You're walking around this woods, and in Ethan Carter, they have this idea where they're not going to hold your hand. So literally, you are stumbling around at every square inch of everything. But they do sometimes have these little experiences, right? So I know that this path is slow, kind of going through these two rocks, and there are these trees, just giving me a little opening. I can't really make out what's behind there, but I know I got to go there, and I'm intrigued, right, because I can't see. So I have to keep walking. So once I get to the other side, it opens out, right, and the path continues. Notice the path is not straight ahead. We've curved the path at an angle, which makes things more interesting because I can't see where I'm going, right? Again, I see a portion of where I've got to go, but not everywhere. Again, interesting, we have this this slight diagonal of this water, of this river or this water body that's leading away, like intersecting. If you start thinking of this as lines, right? So we've got this kind of interesting intersection. And this helps, again, builds visual interest and as well part of our frame. And then when I go farther down the path, okay, I still can't see the full path. I have something that's kind of blocking my view, right? But I have another diagonal. So I can imagine I'm going to walk, and somehow, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm going to go down this path and somehow I'm going to have to walk across this bridge. Okay, so again, keeping that tension, not revealing everything, not making the path too clear cut, helps intrigue and make sure the player wants to keep going and explore your terrain. So this is a screenshot from the reading talking about observation spots. So it's all very well and good to say, okay, here's how you position everything in a 2D painting because you have total control. Well, in a 3D world, you don't have all that control. So how do you make sure the player sees what you want? Well, you control how they access the space. So you can have things blocked, like let's say you have a wall here or hedges or trees or buildings or whatever, and you control it so there's only one way the player can get through into this area, and so you know exactly what they're going to experience and what they're going to see when they come through it. Now, you want to make it seem like they have some more choice, then you can, as you can see over here, you give them a couple more ways. So here we have 3 ways we can enter this scene. You don't have as much control, but you still have a lot of control, right? So that means you can set up all your objects and all your things so they have a very interesting and controlled visual experience. Okay, that's enough for layers, and there will be another section following.